What's going on, everybody? This is Dan Goodman of the Business of Strength podcast, and we appreciate you tuning in for today's episode with special guest Jimmy Contrini. Jimmy is somebody that I met actually through my brother, Matt Goodman. They went to school together at SUNY Cortland. It's a small world. Now, Jimmy is he is a content creator and manager for none other than Alex and Leila Hormozi. Jimmy has been a wealth of knowledge with our team here at Varsity House Gym in the Business of Strength, pointing us in the right direction on organic posting. And he is somebody that's gotten on and done a guest lecture for our Strongest Year program of the Business of Strength. And this episode is one you do not want to miss. He breaks down the content creation for Alex and Leila. If he was a fitness professional, the type of schedule that he would keep to promote his business, wealth of knowledge, some cool stories, some fun anecdotal things about working for Alex and Leila. And it's a show you're really going to enjoy. So without further ado, here's Jimmy Contrini, everybody. Welcome to the Business of Strength podcast. For the gym listeners that are tuning in and don't know you, bring us up to speed on who you are and what you do, man.
Dan, thank you so much for having me on. This is going to be awesome. I'm excited. Well, to bring you up to speed of what I've done up until now. So I came from the Gary Vee world before this. Right now I'm with Alex and Leila Hormozi, as you know, content manager. But I first started with Gary. I came out of college from SUNY Cortland, 2017. I was a sport management major. I had no really skills whatsoever. So I was like, let me try to be an assistant, because I figured the only real skill I actually had was networking and like being a people person. So I was like, let me try to leverage that and make relationships at a company where they have a lot of things that I'm interested in, like entertainment, production, sports. They had it all at Vayner, and I was a Gary fan. So I was like, let me leverage my personality and being personable with people to create relationships and potentially go somewhere in one of those realms: production, sports, and entertainment, talent. So I just wanted to get my foot in the door. So I was like, EA sounds like a good move. Went over into Vayner Productions, got in, was with the chief production officer, Aaron Covan, and I was doing like new business development. I was obviously his assistant for the production studio, and then I was like producing mini shoots in those studios, like small budget commercials, and then had influencers in there. And then I was also bringing in production and different new business, and I was also doing like project management for the agency producers, handling, assigning them projects for like Chase, Budweiser, Diageo, like Mondelez. And then over time, I built the relationships like Vayner Talent, Vayner Sports, moved over there after like doing free work with them, like providing them value in a sense for free of running, like helping with the SBs events, different celebrity golf outings they did, like gaming events, and helping with their talent management side of things. Went over there, and then I was helping manage like Bernie Kosar, Jesse Palmer, Booga, who's an esports gamer and athlete. Who else we have? Dan Patrick, Rich Eisen,
Awesome.
Ray Lewis. Yeah, so that
Didn't
was
you
cool.
do the Rough Riders for a while?
Rough Riders was after Vayner. So Rough Riders we did an NFT project with. I'll get to that.
Cool.
So I went to Vayner Talent, and I was there for like two and a half years. Yeah, 2 years. And then I went over to VeeFriends. And before I left Vayner, I was at VeeFriends and helped in the gift code token for about 4 or 5 months and bringing in new business for VeeFriends. And then I went over to Metacurio. They gave me a great opportunity to go over there, and I left on Vayner on great terms. Still friends with everyone over there to this day. Went over to Metacurio to be head of production. So we launched NFT projects with A-list celebrities and then large brands. And some of the brands are like Rough Riders. We did a project with Rough Riders, Selena Gomez, Mike Tyson, Dennis Rodman.
Nice.
Yeah, it was a bunch. We did a ton of stuff, like Authentic Brands Group. It's one of the biggest brands in the world. Helped them. So I did that for a while. For about a year, I was head of production. And then obviously we all know the NFT market kind of went in the gutter. So then Caleb gave me a ring from Alex and Leila. He was there from the beginning, running all content there. And he reached out, and one thing led to another. He said there's a perfect role for me over here. And he just thought of me right away. And we just talked about it. And then now I came here, and I've been here for almost a year.
That's awesome. And how did you know Caleb?
I met Caleb through Gary World. So he was, you know how Gary has D-Rock, D-Rock
Hmm.
used to run around shoot for Gary. Caleb did the same thing. So I
Okay,
met him.
awesome.
I walked up to him one day, introduced myself, and then this is while I was working at Vayner, and we just hit it off, and
Ah,
we were
that's
friends ever
awesome.
since.
It's so funny, man. That's how you and I are on this call right now. So, your unique ability to connect is literally why we're on this call right now. It's such a powerful thing of, I have to give a shout where it's due to my brother, but I believe the way that, our friendship and business connection started, I had commented on something, and I think you screenshotted it to Matt. I was like, "Yo, dude, is this your brother?" And
Yeah.
he's like, "Yo, you should definitely link up with Jimmy. Like, he's doing some really cool stuff with the guy that did Gym Launch." And I was like, "Oh, cool, that's Alex Hormozi." And then one thing led to the next, and now you're teaching people on the Business of Strength podcast.
No, it's a small world, and yes, that's exactly what happened. And I think people overlook like the value of connecting with people and like creating those relationships. You don't know where it could go, but
No,
if you play your cards right, it plays in your favor a lot more than you think.
yeah, and I think it's cool. Like, a book that I love is called The Go Giver. It's like when you give without the expectation of receiving, and you do that consistently, and it becomes habitual. It's a superpower.
Oh yeah, 100%. Like, and if you do it right off the bat when you meet people, like providing them the value right away and making that impression on them. Like I'm really big on sending gifts. Like people that I don't truthfully know crazy well. Like I'll meet them for the first time, we have a great time, and have a good go out or something for the night. Have a great time. I would end up. I like send people gifts a lot. Like the following week or something. Like appreciate the time. That was awesome. Had a great time with you
Yeah,
guys. Not just a text, like the simple stuff that a lot
yeah,
of people do.
yeah,
Like you make an impression. I've done that so many times, and that will obviously stick over in people's heads
yeah.
more than
Hell
just
yeah.
a simple like text.
Have you ever read the book Blue Fishing by Steve Sims or Giftology? No?
No, no, it's
You would
that's
love it.
giftology sounds very
You should
interesting.
you should read either one of those, because if you're doing that intuitively and without, like, you need to read one of those books. You'd
Because
love
there's
it.
always something like say I'm a Steeler fan. Like I did it with my friend who lives in LA a couple months back. This is a friend obviously I've known for a little bit, but like he was having a rough couple months, and so it was just out of the blue. I just sent him like a Jack Ham jersey, just like stuff like that. But like if you do that with, I do it with a lot of people obviously I just meet as well. That just is puts you one step above, and like that sits in people's heads more than just like
For
a text.
sure,
Like that was an
man.
awesome time, and that's what I've noticed, and that's what's really like stepped
Yeah.
up big time in like relationships with people.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So, obviously, on the show today, we want to use your time and be respectful of it, because I know you're in Vegas right now with an acquisition.com summit. And, the people that listen to this show, they're fitness professionals, gym owners, and people that are just, they're trying to get better at marketing or operating their gym or leading their gym. And obviously with your talents, for creating content or curating content, like what should that look like for a gym owner or operator? Like what's the nitty-gritty we need to know? What's the posting schedule? What's the power of organic reach? I mean, you guys, you've been one of the masterminds behind arguably one of the biggest organic pushes in the last calendar year. So talk to us maybe about the power that that's had for acquisition.com, and how we as gym people could just take some of those learned lessons and apply it to our business.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think with the gym owner thing, it's they don't have a large team obviously to start with, like we have over here now. But we could relate because when I came over here, it was only three of us, and we just built it from there. But I think a lot of people overlook the action side of things. Like it's
Mm-hmm.
very simple to just like I know everyone's days are packed. Like in my opinion, though, like you could set up 2 hours in the week and accomplish within those 2 hours, you'll get 50 posts created throughout the week. You just have to strategically like your pre-production has to be very strategic and planned out. So, and
So
what I
what does
mean
that
by
mean? Yeah, what does that
exactly
mean?
what I mean by that is don't overthink it in a sense of like I have to post on 5 different platforms. I need a different post on each platform. It could be the same short on 4 different like you should start small, obviously with a small team, but it could be the same short on each platform for each day. You maybe do it at different times though, but could be the same short across 2 or 3, 4 platforms, whatever your bandwidth could allow you to do. But when you go into shooting, very simple setup. Like you could just get a tripod with your phone on it, or if you want to spend the extra money and get a camera, put a camera on the tripod. And then you could have a simple microphone, or you could even shoot it like this, like we're shooting on your laptop right now.
Right.
But I think the key part is setting up your prompts. Like when we go into shoots with Alex and Leila, like we are planned out to a T. Like we have what 4 or 5 concepts we're hitting on our YouTube, like YouTube long form videos, and then what are we shooting for our shorts. We'll have each short lined up and right on a whole document, like 30 to 40, and we try to just capture what we can. We have 5 hours with them, 4 hours. All right, let's get them all. We'll try to get as many as we can.
So are you using like prompts for that? Or are you using questions that are sent in via like email or social? Like how do you even know where to start or what to answer or what to talk about?
Good question. So for the shorts, it's most of the time we'll gather shorts from audience's comments on different social posts that we've had.
Okay.
B, it could be like different things that Alex and Leila have said in interviews or within videos that we were like, oh, this would be dope for them to talk about. Like you will hear it and I'll be like, that's a cool topic. Let's make that a short and have them go like speak about it more. So we take quotes that they've said, especially with Alex. His Twitter's very good. Like he's a very good writer. So we like to take a lot of the things he'll say on Twitter, like, and be like, he's like, amplify this more. Like just go more in depth with what you just said here. And then we'll just have him riff on camera. And we'll take questions, obviously, from the audience, different comments. We'll see things in emails. Like it's literally all of the above. And we'll just add it because every film session is like 2 weeks apart. And we'll just keep adding to the document. And then we all meet prior to the shoot, like 2 days before, and review the shorts. Now we'll have like 40 to 50 shorts on the doc for both Alex and Leila. But then which shorts are very 30 seconds or less usually. But the long form YouTube stuff, those are like 4 to 5 concepts that are more fleshed out. Like those are like, how do I explain it? It's like when you write, like when you're in high school and college, like those 5-paragraph essays. That's how we bullet it out. Like it's the general topic. And then we have like our 3 or 4 key topics we want to hit within that, like subjects about that topic. And then we just bullet it out, like the reasonings for each of those 3, like underneath the core topic. So we have 4 or 5 long form videos where it's like we go real in depth with what we want them to discuss. It's almost scripted to a point. Well, it's scripted to a point with the questions that we want them to answer, and then they just riff on those questions.
Got it. So even specific to them, I mean, you guys are putting out for both Alex and Leila, like how many pieces of content daily, roughly?
Roughly across, I know weekly, I think it's like 250 for Alex.
250 pieces of content. They don't have to be individual, just shared to different platforms, stories.
Did I lose you?
Yeah, I got you. That might have been me.
That's all
you're getting 250 touch points a week.
So we get, I would say it's 250 a week across all platforms, but it's a lot of them are the same posts. Like it's the same piece of content. It's not like 250 unique pieces of content.
Right.
And we try to repurpose a lot. Like we'll put the same short on like an Instagram or Twitter the same day, but most of the time we'll have that piece of content. Say if I put an Instagram reel up today on Alex's account, probably 2 days from now, I'll have it posted on like TikTok. We don't have it we'll have it within the same week, that clip posted, but we usually don't have it the same day unless it's a YouTube upload and we're sharing the short. And we're like promoting it on a different platform. Like you'll see on his Alex Leila's accounts, we promote our YouTube releases on Wednesdays and Thursdays, Wednesday for Alex, Thursday for Leila. We'll post a short on Instagram and Twitter on the day of the upload just to like push people to YouTube.
So, this is just important for people to hear like volume on how to like taper it down. So let's just say in a calendar month, we're getting 7,500 pieces of content for Alex and 7,500 for Leila. So that's 15,000 touch points for each of them, or all organic. How much shooting do you have to do for that? Is it a day every month? Is it a day every other month? Is it 2 days? Is it a week? Like, how much actual production time of them behind the camera is actually happening to produce that volume of send, or, of share?
Well, let's think about it a little bit more than that. Like we shoot two times a month, let's say, with Alex Leila, and it's about 5 to 8 hours each time. And I just told you how we like what we really accomplish is like we'll get usually 50 shorts done and
Mm-hmm.
then 4 to 5 YouTube concepts. But then we're shooting other things. Like we have YouTube inserts we'll capture. We'll capture Facebook exclusive like stories. We'll have like LinkedIn specific job posting clips we want done. Like we have a lot of various extra stuff we get
Mm-hmm.
done on those film dates. But I think where a lot of more clips come from as well is like we have a back end, obviously, editing team where we're handing off all this footage that we shoot to them. We'll also take like interviews and podcasts and like the vlog footage that we shoot. Those are all getting cut up simultaneously, like after the shoot. So that's like another, depending on how long those, like how many clips you can get out of them, depending on the content and value that's within the footage. Um, like podcasts, you get like 20 to 25 clips off of one podcast episode. One vlog day footage, you could get like 50 to 100 clips from,
Right.
depending on. So you know what I mean? Like it's not just those film sessions. It's like they're vlogging as well. So that's just an extra. We have extra pieces of content from that, and it's a
Right. It's
ton.
It's awesome. And like, it's just such a great learning experience for people on the show, because like, I know, just speaking to you off camera, that they're you're repurposing so well. And it's not like they're putting out all this content, but it's not like they're behind a camera with a film crew out of 30 days, 25 of them. It's a
No,
couple.
it's for vlogging. It's probably once a week they
Right.
do, and once or twice a week. Sometimes with Layla it's two. Alex it's sometimes one, usually zero, to be honest. And then we film every 2 weeks with them. It's really
Right.
not a lot. And I think for even gym owners, it's like when you set up like where you want to shoot, like say it's on a couch, like where Alex and Layla mainly do it. They sit on a freaking couch and film most of their content. And if that doesn't tell you how easy it is, I don't know what does. They literally sit and it's like on in a living room on a couch and like have a camera just set up and then they talk. And then they hand
Right.
that footage off to an editor and the editor cuts it. It's
I
a two
think
person process.
Right. It's crazy. And I think so many people that listen to this, we get stuck in our own head of what people actually want to hear or listen
Yep.
to.
Yep.
And it's the same thing with this podcast. I mean, we started this podcast 5 years ago, and in the beginning, like 6 people listened to it. And it wasn't that wasn't it though. It was we were just finding our rhythm, and we kept doing it, and we've kept doing it. We've done, hundreds of episodes at this point, and you know, we've gotten better at it, and
Mm-hmm.
we've acquired listeners, a lot more listeners as we've gone. But if you're a gym owner or a fitness professional, the questions they might not be getting hit up on social the way, to get a lot of questions to answer. The questions that you need to be answering are the ones that you're hearing on the gym floor. What should I do when I go on vacation for fitness? Or my shoulder hurts. What's something that could get it to feel better? Or what's the healthiest breakfast? Like all the questions that your 20 or 25 or 50 or 100 clients ask nonstop, those are the questions that everybody has. So whether you have 500 followers, 1,000, 10,000, whatever, just take those questions that you're hearing on the gym floor and answer them to the internet to attract other people to continue to build yourself as an authoritative figure in the space, and just keep going forward. We started the Business of Strength podcast before we ever started selling business to business consulting. And part of the reason why we had the ability to sell it is that we put our opinions out there for people to interpret, good or bad. But luckily enough, some people were like, yeah, those guys know what the fuck they're doing. Let's give it a shot, like, so.
Yeah, and it's based off of like, sorry to interrupt.
No,
It's based off of like your life, like the authenticity of you, like and your authentic, like what happens day to day and like your life. And that's what people fail to realize about Alex and Layla's content too. It's like they're just being authentic. Like this is stuff that happens within meetings and within their like daily life. And I think people they try to create, like manufacture and create content,
And
then
it looks, that looks like shit.
documenting and being authentic. Yes. And if you
Yeah.
feel, I mean, just tell me, like, you feel when people are fake. Like, you could tell when they're speaking, you could tell. And most people could obviously agree with that. Like, when someone walks in the room and they start bullshitting, you could tell like who's a bullshit artist and like who's fake. It's the
Totally, man.
same thing with content. You read it like a book. Like, you got to be very authentic with it, with your content. Like, be you, and shit that happens in your life daily.
Right.
And then it feels real and people connect with it more. So it's a good quote that Gary says, that I just said, is Gary said in the past, like, document, don't create. So
Yeah.
document things that are happening in your life. Don't try to manufacture interesting value, because people
That's
aren't going to go for it.
that's great. Writing that down. Awesome, man. So specific, if you were going to consult with a gym right now, what type of calendar would you build out? I know it's a loaded question, but just take into account the majority of people listening to this. Let's say the gym has, 125 clients, 3 employees. The owner operator of that gym is in charge of the marketing, but is still doing 20 hours a session, 10 hours of ops and billing. So they maybe have 10 hours a week, right? And they have a limited budget. Tell me what you got. You're giving them your 2 cents on where to start and how to anchor their schedule and get rolling, specific to a gym.
How many hours a week you say they got?
We got 10 hours, and let's call it $1,000 a month.
Oh, okay. 10 hours is plenty. I would go buy a tripod, and then you could set up anywhere you want in the gym. It doesn't really matter. You could either sit in a chair or stand up. You don't even have to have someone holding like the camera, because it's gonna be on a tripod. You could buy a camera. A cheap one would be on the sense of, like, you could get one for like $700, a good one too. And go get a camera, and then that obviously come with your SD card, and then you set it up on the tripod. And then with those 10 hours, that to order that stuff, I don't know, to get there, they'll take you 30 minutes to order that stuff. Comes in, and then we have 9.5 hours to work with. I would create a prompt document with what you want to film. So being authentic to yourself, what I would think about at first, like, what happens in your daily life, like you said, what are questions that are asked you day in and day out all the time from your clients? I would think about your clients right now, and what could you put out that provides the most value to those 125 clients right now? Because if those are your 125 clients at the moment, those are people that are, like, obviously relating to you, and you could cater to them, because there's going to be more clients like that coming to you. So I would think about them first and create specific buckets. Say you want to talk about, you get asked about certain nutrition all the time. Nutrition could be one bucket. B, and like what their lifestyle is. Are they waking up early, waking up late? Are they, like, what are they doing day in, day out? It could be like lifestyle, could be another bucket. And then you could talk about workout tips for them, like catering to your specific clients. Because it's going to be, although you're giving them the value, it's going to go to a broader audience as well that is exactly like them. So you're going to create exposure for yourself. So you create those buckets. It'll probably take you like 2 hours to make a prompt document within, because each bucket you could talk like your lifestyle, and then you could have all the different ones, like what's the morning routine, what's like your afternoon, what are you doing in the afternoon, what are you doing at night, like is your sleep on point, is your breathing on point? And then you talk like more about that, and then you talk about your nutrition. In that bucket, it'll be your meals throughout the day. On Monday, what are you doing on Tuesday? What are you eating at night? Like, what time do you stop eating? Stuff like that. And then you could have your workouts. Obviously, you go through each body part, like your favorite different exercises. Like, when do you do cardio? Do you do fasted cardio? Like all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then that could be first 3 buckets. And then you could have 20 questions on each. Bang, you go and film your shorts. That'll take you 2 hours to create that first prompt document. I would just go right to shorts to start. Reels are your best bet to start. You don't have to go into long form yet. Like I told you in the past, I think it would be like you start with Facebook Reels, Instagram Reels, because you could post them at the same time. And you could schedule them out on the same platform, a Meta Business Suite. So then you're getting like double, 2 for the price of 1. So once you have that prompt document, probably take you 2 hours. Like I said, we have 7.5 hours to work with. You'll have 60 different shorts you can shoot within, say, if that's only 3 buckets. If you have 4, you'll have 80. And I'm sure people will come up with other ones. Get them all in a document. You could have 30-second clips or less, and you just have to, with the rest of the $300 that you have after getting your equipment, you could spend that on an editor who will edit it all for you first round. And you could get a good one on Fiverr for like $100 to do all those videos for you, like 150 bucks. And then you could have 2 rounds of that. So you have 60 clips each time. So say 60 clips for those 2 hours. And then the following week, you shoot another 2 hours, you have another 60 clips. And then you pass them off to that editor, and then he'll edit 120 clips and be like, you could just pass along like example videos to that editor and be
It's
like,
so
this is what I want it
crazy.
to look like.
It's crazy, man, because you just said 120 pieces of content. Like, you know, we get on, I speak with gym owners or GMs every single week, year round from everywhere. And I was recently speaking with the gym out in Colorado. I was like, they're like, hey, I'm just real behind. Like, August sucked. We had a lot of attrition and just like marketing's not doing great. And it's like, let me just pull up. Like, I was like, tell me the last time you sent an email. It'd been months. I said, let's pull up your social media. There had not been a post since July 26th.
Yeah. That's another thing. People give up.
And it's like the flywheel of marketing can't ever stop. And you see like August for us, we used to just lay down and be like, nobody's here to train. Now it's like the volume of inputs in August, because we know we get clipped so bad with attrition. It's like if we usually send every day, now it's twice a day. If we usually post once a day, it's twice a day. And it's just so you have to, the inputs of volume can outpace some of that attrition. But, the thing is, to end on a more positive note, specifically for that gym in Colorado, it's just like, hey, let's just start like 3 times a week of a post. Just a post, just add value, direct them of where you want to go or how they can get started with you. And the one that performs the best, send it as an email. And this is an owner operator coaching a lot. And I get a text from this person and they're like, hey, I signed up 4 clients in a week. And it just goes to show, it's just like presence and being seen with marketing. It's everything.
It's consistency, man. Like I think a lot of people, especially gym owners too, like, because they're so eager and like they want to get more clients and get more business. And it's like they're chasing that when in reality it shouldn't be about like chasing that money and like getting the clients. Like social media, if you're not in it to be in it for longer than, like, you have to be in it for the long haul and be consistent with it every day. It took Alex 4 years till his podcast actually took off. Like 4 years of posting it 3-4 days a week, doing podcasts, and it took him 4 years. Like, it's a long time. So people like to give up because they're chasing that quick. They want like quick clients, quick money. Stay consistent with it over time.
Jimmy, talk about the decision that was made. I know Alex talks about it and Leila talk about it on the podcast, but for people that maybe don't know, I believe when you started till now, the Instagram page has grown by 1.5 million followers or something like that.
Yeah. So I started running it when it was like 500,000, and now it's at 1.8, 1.75.
And the year before you came on due to growth, I'm assuming. The year before that, I think it was at like 10 or 15,000.
Yep. It was like, yeah, that's exactly right. It's 15 the year before that.
Yeah, it's so
2 years it took to get to here, essentially.
2 years of nonstop
We haven't missed a
grinding.
day. Haven't missed a day.
Haven't missed a day.
One day of 2+, at least 2+ pieces, whether that's in your story, whether that's in your feed, 2+ pieces of content every day.
And can you, I mean, without getting, I don't want anybody to get in trouble, but without disclosing too much, like, what has this reach done for them as it pertains to the finances of acquisition.com? Again, you don't have to disclose numbers, but maybe just percentage and increase or something like that.
I mean, the increase is what you think it is. Like, it's exponential, and it's due to the exposure. You have 1.7 million people. Like, and just to give you like context, like say on a monthly basis, we'll reach like 8 million people, 10 million people. And in most of those, 75% or more are non-followers. And that's where your goal is. Like, what are you trying to do when you're with your organic reach? Most of the time, you're trying to reach non-followers. Like, that's what we're trying to do. And we're really successful at it. But like, the reach is remarkable. And I think for like anyone that wants to get into content, that's what you want to do. You're there to gain exposure, and that's what's going to drive you new
Right.
business. You're providing value at scale and bringing new exposure to you, your brand, your personal brand, obviously in your gym. So the numbers are astronomical for us at this point, but like for gym owners, that's like what you're striving to do. But it
Right.
takes time that people are like not willing to do. Like everyone's rah rah, I'll do it. Yeah, let's go make content. And then once it becomes like a month into it, you're like, this is crazy. I haven't gained
Yeah.
one new follower when you're about 5 posts away from gaining 10,000.
Right, right. You know what it is too? It's like, I've been in that game and I've been a hater of like consistent posting on social media just because, for a local brick and mortar business, and I know you're a good connector. I know you're a Lyndhurst guy and you probably know everybody, but like before it, look, and we could have a disagreement here, but if you're a brand new coach to an area and you're brand new to a gym, like you got to meet everybody in that gym first. You got to meet the local barista at the coffee shop. You got to know the people working in the local mechanic shop. You got to go to the local country club and let people know. Like, I feel like people hide behind some social media stuff where like you still have to pound the pavement. But the thing that I wish that I would have done is on the road of pounding the pavement, of meeting people, shaking hands, introducing, going to those games, we could have documented it the whole way through. So it's like do it all. If you're doing that, just document it. Hey, going to meet such and such, and or be like, hey, I went to a local smoothie bar. This is a great place if you're looking to get a high protein snack. Like you can't have, in my opinion, as a coach, you can't have one without the other. Like you still need to be well known locally.
Oh yeah.
You
Oh
have to
yeah.
be.
As a coach, you definitely have to be, and like I mean, that's your job. Like you're a personable human if you're a trainer or a coach. Like you're naturally like that. If you're a good coach, you will be you're personable with
Yeah.
people. So you're naturally going around speaking, creating relationships with people. I just think those experiences you go through on a daily basis can amplify your personal brand. So essentially, you're building your own
Mm-hmm.
reputation and
Right.
brand with these people within your community and like out like in your area, and you could
Right.
use social to amplify your personal brand
Yeah.
in those experiences that you have. So it's like you could document it, or you could even like after you have like a conversation or like a certain meeting that was intriguing, you could have a text post on like a
Right.
Twitter, or
Do
you
you,
could literally just take a selfie video, or you could do a short later on and like discuss it and have it like nicely edited. It's all up to you, but you could create pieces of content off any experience you have.
right. So talk to me a little bit about the book launch of that live event that, I was on. It was awesome. We had Jimmy on the week prior to it was Saturday was the event. We had Jimmy on as a guest speaker to our consulting group, the Strongest Year program. And I get a text from Jimmy, like, yeah, I don't even know, all hours of the night. He's like, dude, I don't know if I could do tomorrow. I was like, listen, man, you could do it. You'll be fine. He's like, nah, I'm not. I've been getting slammed this week. It's crazy. I'm like, listen, give me half an hour. You'll be all right. And you came on, you rocked it. People were asking great questions. People loved it.
That was
But
fun.
just what was that like, man? I mean, how many people actually showed up to that? What's been the response from that? Um, it was nuts. It was awesome.
Yeah, to be honest, it was like I was in it a little bit, like on the back end of the event, but I didn't really run it a ton. That was more like Caleb and like we had like an outside vendor that ran the event, but it went super well. I had a hand in it a little bit, but it was mainly like since Caleb was working so much on that, I was taking on like a lot of things he was handling while he was running
Got
the
it.
event for a few months. So that
Mhm.
like I got like overloaded that week because there was just so much going on. And then I helped a tiny bit for it, but nothing crazy. But I mean, it went super successful. I mean, most of the team has never run an event like that, period. Like a live stream event. They had it was over like 50,000 people showed up, or 100,000. I think it was 100,000 over that showed up. And it crushed. Like the launch itself did unbelievable. So we were super pumped about it, and it did great. I mean, it did everything we were hoping for and more. So it was a
Awesome.
great
That's
experience.
great.
Everyone loved it. The feedback from it was
It
insane.
was awesome. I've never seen anything like that before.
You like how
I'm
you like how he just let it on like he was about to sell something to everybody,
dude,
and
the
then everyone was
chat
like,
was
"What the
crushing
hell?"
him.
Yeah, everyone was like, "What is going on right now?" And then like everyone kept doing it, and he like Alex essentially like just trolled them. And then right after he said it was all free, and everyone was like, mind was blown. That was it was actually really cool to see.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's really cool. So on the heels of that, I know you've worked with, Gary, now Alex and Leila, Rough Riders, Dan Patrick. You've worked with so many celebrities. What's been the crazy? I mean, you're still young in your career, but you've had so much access. What's a story or a person or something that you'd be willing to share that's just been an insane experience?
I got two actually.
All right, hit
So
us.
like so growing up, Michael Vick was a huge fan. I was a huge fan of Michael Vick. And he was the man back in the day. He changed the game. Like he was on the cover of 2004 Madden, and that was like my game back in the day. Loved it. Um, and then we
Falcons.
had yeah, he was Falcons back then, and he was doing an event we did. We used to do Run Rich Run for Rich Eisen. He does like in
Yep.
the NFL draft. He does the 40-yard dash with like against other athletes and entrepreneurs. And they all run in like a tournament. We were running it when I was at Van Talent, and Michael Vick was there. So, and we went to SoFi Stadium in California to do it the one year when they had the draft over there. And I'm at the 50-yard line, SoFi Stadium, like catching passes, running routes with Michael Vick. I'm like, what the hell is happening? I was like 24 years old.
It's
I'm like,
awesome.
I'm like, what am I doing here? I was looking around the stadium. I'm like, how did this happen? And I'm like, he's throwing bullets at me, and he had a
Bullet.
cannon,
He's got a
cannon,
cannon, dude.
cannon still. And I'm like running, I'm like catching passes, and Jerry Rice is over there, like running next to me. I'm like guard, like sometimes like playing around, like guarding me. I'm like, what are we doing? Like, why is Jimmy Contrini out here right now? It was cool. That was a good one. And then the other one was actually my first gig out of college was internship at a sports agency, and the sports agency that I worked at was in Englewood, New Jersey, so it was free. And I was there for about 2 weeks because the second week, and it was big. You could look it up. It was ASM Sports. It was like
Oh,
you'll see it
he
on.
lived in Demorest, didn't he?
Yes, you'll see it on
Yeah.
Google. And I was an intern there. And one day, like 2 weeks in, I used to like always, as an intern, I'm like letting in the post office people and UPS guys, ringing it, like and doing some social media stuff for the players we rep. One day that I heard the doorbell ring, let them in, and it wasn't the UPS people or like USPS. It was 10 FBI agents, and they came
Oh
in the
man.
door, like took my laptop, flipped the cameras, and then they were like, "You can leave," and I was like, "Cool." And I never went back. And that was 2 weeks in, and it winded up being they came out with like a documentary about it. It's called The Scheme on HBO, and it's about like this guy Christian Dawkins who was there at ASM Sports. It's a great doc actually, and they were essentially then they were do ASM was doing NIL before NIL, so it was illegal. So like
Got
they
it.
were paying players to like come to their agency and stuff, and like coaches to like recruit players to come to the agency. Um, so yeah, and I had no idea. I was an intern, so I was just like the one day they came in and was, I'm like, what is going on? Imagine that coming out of college. And I'm like, this is my first experience I get in the real world. I'm like, what is happening?
Dude, it would have been if they cuffed you, threw you in the back of the car, and you're like, no, dude.
They just saw me and I was like, what? And they flipped the cameras and then they're like, you can leave. It's like, sounds good to me. I'm out. See you later.
That's crazy, man. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
So
That's
those are
really
two
cool.
cool stories I figured I should share.
Yeah, that's really good. So back to where you're at now at acquisition.com. Before we were talking, I said, it's so cool that you have a front row seat to uh, not only just Alex and Layla, but I know Caleb, somebody that you've really looked to as a mentor, and uh, just you have so much access to knowledge and access to seeing a company grow. You guys are growing at a rate that's not common, and you're relatively young in your career, although you have a tremendous amount of experience, and obviously you've had access to so many cool companies and different realms within sports marketing and working with entrepreneurial companies. But what makes Alex and Layla so special? Like, why them? Why now? What is really their superpower?
Well, I think for me at least, joining this company, I've never worked for people that were so, I don't know how to explain it. It's like they're so on the same wavelength of like me personally. Like
Mm-hmm.
they pride, like the company prides themselves on hiring people with the same values. Like they really, really preach their values. And I think it's a great way to like hire for their, obviously, acquisition.com, and then for their portfolio companies. And they pride themselves on it. And I love the fact they do that because everyone they bring in has the same core values. And like, so everyone aligns when it comes to like the work, the bandwidth of work, the amount of work, um, and just like their personalities and the people they are. Like we all, like we're all just such good friends. I've never worked at a company where like everyone from top to bottom is just so fucking cool. Everyone's just great friends with each other. And I think that's like their superpower is hiring the best talent and the best people. Because there's not one person, every single job you go to, there's always like one person at that company where you're like, nah, I don't know, like I'm not vibing with this guy. Like right away, like you're not going to really hit it off with them, or like you just get that. Maybe it takes time. There's not one person here where it's like right off the bat, everyone's just like super cool, super personable. Like you could trust them almost immediately. It's like it's so hard to explain, but it's night and day compared to other companies I've worked for, and their ability to hire great talent and great people is like what makes it so much better than every other company. And I think I've learned over time, like that's the biggest thing when going to a job. Like you have to have the right people. Like don't take the job because of the work. Take it for the people you're going to work with and like your
Mm-hmm.
boss. Like
Right.
I've learned that the hard way too, but like it's the truth. Like really take a role for the people you're going to be with day in and day. 'Cause you spend more time with them than you do your freaking family.
Mm-hmm.
So like be wise with it. Cause like I got lucky with that.
Yeah. I mean, it's a great point. Better players make for better teams in sports and in
Correct.
business.
Yep. So yes. And people don't realize that in business at all, in my opinion. But that is the core differentiator of this company for
So
sure.
would you say their ability to create culture?
Yeah, their ability to build a team and create culture is second to none, better than anyone.
Would you be willing to talk about what you're doing in Vegas right now and the things that you guys have been doing the last few days there?
Yeah, it was so we've been growing so fast, really full team meetup, and it's been amazing. Like everyone just in general, just being in person with everyone, first of all, like you get to know everyone better and more, and like you get that closer feel to everyone personally and like with your communication. And but we also aligned on a lot of things because we're growing so fast. So like all the leadership did like presentations on specific topics. That was very cool. Just to show what the company and themselves are. So we're all aligned on specific what like topics like brand and personal brand and like biases and communication and like having hard conversations. Like it was all learning.
Yeah.
And so everyone was on the same wavelength in terms of like these big broad topics. I think it was just so cool to see, and everyone just like learning everything together, just so it's like no one's going the wrong direction for like these big broad topics within the company. So it was like basically an internal alignment for a couple of days. It was super
Yeah.
cool. And it
Getting
was like more or
everybody.
less, yeah, and everyone was like talking more. It was more engaging. Like we would have like a quick presentation and we'd talk like a half hour on it
It's
as a
awesome.
team. It was cool. It was like really, really, really cool.
Getting everybody bought into the mission, man.
That's exactly what it is. And it definitely worked. It was so cool, man. I
Awesome.
can't say it enough.
That's great. So, I want to make sure that I know you're out there and you're working and you're spending time with us here, but any closing statement for the listeners here, like what can we expect from Jimmy Contrini and acquisition.com in the future here?
Um, you could expect to keep seeing us. We ain't going anywhere. You're going to see
Right.
more and more of us as we keep building. But honestly, just you'll just continue to keep seeing more of us. And I think for gym owners, I think to like I said before, just stop overlooking like the amount of content you have to create, or like thinking too much regarding like how creative and how perfect that has to be. Um, I think you guys just have to stay consistent and just put the content out there, and just the more volume of content out there you put, the more learning you'll get, the better the content will get, and the better, like in terms of like the value you're giving, and then better in like look and design and feel, you'll get used to it. You get better at it. It's like everything when you're lifting. The more times you lift, the better technique you're gonna get. The more reps
Yeah.
you do, like you just start learning as you go, and that's it's like everything else. So just stay like, how'd everyone get in shape? You were consistent. I think it's like staying consistent over time, you will get better. So just don't give up on it, and keep going. And then for me, I got to start getting my personal content game up. I've been doing it too much for other people. So you'll see me
Yeah, man.
posting more myself. So at Jimmy Contrini on all platforms.
Okay, cool. Awesome. Well, Jimmy, thanks so much for your time here today. I think this has really been an awesome episode, a little bit of a different dynamic and just talking about some tactical things that people can get done, but we got to use Jimmy's advice. We need to get out of our own head. And something that I wrote down here, document, don't create. And it you could do posting for a month or 2 months or 3 months and only be 5 posts away from your next 10,000 followers. And it's so true. It's like that with fitness as well. You could be, you just get there and you fall off hard all summer. And it's just like, shit, you're back to square one in September. It's like, just keep going, keep pushing. And, your advice today has been well received by me, Jimmy. So I appreciate you.
Of course, no, I appreciate you, man. Thank you for having me on. This was awesome.
That's it, everybody. The Business of Strength with Jimmy Contrini. Thank you for listening.